Hello everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Marcus McCrary. Today I want to talk to you about my experience in the Full Sail University Entertainment Business Master's Program. But first I would like to give you a little background on myself. I'm a 10-year military veteran, so I have experience with leadership and teamwork. I also previously attended Full Sail University's bachelor's program for music business. We did an in-depth look of the entertainment industry from the talent's point of view and from the business point of view. I focused on marketing and branding. One thing that stuck with me is to always know your audience, then tailor your business to that audience. All businesses run off basically the same principles. First, you do your research, you develop your product, you check for its feasibility by putting together a business plan, then you get the funds, and then you market that product. Because of this prior experience at Full Sail University in the music business program, I knew that I needed to have a business. So when I first came, I decided I was going to do a television talk show called the Taisha Talk Show. And everything that I did was based off of that. So in every class, I kind of implemented everything into that business and tried to make, whether they were talking about music or books or video games, I made it work to where it fit for my television talk show. And I think that's very important for people to know whenever they come to Full Sail University. The first class was media literacy and research methodologies. First thing we looked at was how to find creditable resources online like LexisNexis and EBSCOhost. We also talked about collaborative efforts with other teammates, whether they be in class or online, and how to work together, and how to manage the time the best. We went in depth about the copyright laws and plagiarism for online materials, and how to cite your sources correctly. We also talked about the formula for successful blogs, which I also started one. If you Google Mac Did It, M-A-C-D-I-D-I-T, you'll find all my materials. The next class I want to talk to you about is executive leadership. We talked about confidence in speaking and your actions and how they affect you and those around you. We also talked about prioritizing your life using the 20-80 rule. 20% of the things in your life are actually important. The other 80 are really just bothering you. If you can figure out what that top 20% is, your life will be much better off once you focus on those. We also read a book called The 48 Laws of Power. A great book. I cannot express how important this book was on my life. It really showed the difference between the thinking of the haves and the have-not. We also talked about the importance of mentors and their experiences and how you can look at them and see their mistakes or talk to them and hear about their mistakes and really avoid a lot of the same problems in your life. The same works for businesses. Research, research, research. The next class was project and team management. As master's students, most of us are graduating to become managers or entrepreneurs. Knowing the psyche of the people that we'll be working with is very important for unit cohesion. We looked at the different type of personalities, the creative versus the logical thinker. We look at how they cope with things, their tendencies, and how they're motivated. Some you can motivate with rewards, others you have to motivate with money. We identified their personality strengths and weaknesses and really figured out how to use them in the best way in each position of your business. We also studied SMART goal setting. Some goals that people set just aren't very smart, but there's a simple formula for that. SMART. They need to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. The next class was product and artist management. As the producer for the Taisha Talk Show, I find this a very important class for really understanding how to work with talented people to get their products out. A lot of the talents don't understand the business side of things. That's the left brain versus the right brain. This class really taught us how to bring it all together and how to put that out. We talked about the role and the traits of a good manager. A good manager should be a people person, organized, result-oriented, have a bit of salesmanship in them, because these products do have to be sold. Should be competitive, persistent, and always networking. The ability of a manager to set clear objectives is what makes and breaks businesses. A manager should be able to troubleshoot quickly and effectively. A manager should always protect the brand he is working with. Should only affiliate with other brands that make sense for his client. In this class, we also put together a live event. And we also talked about the little things that a lot of artists miss, like press releases and going on press tours. We also talked about the little things in the budget that people miss, like travel, lodging, and food. You still gotta eat. Next is entertainment business finance. This was a rough one, but very important. We talked about basic economics and how things work, like credit unions all the way up to the Federal Reserve. We also talked about specific taxes like staffing and sales tax. We talked about very important parts of the business plan, like startup costs, staffing, fixed costs, and liquid assets. Liquid assets is something that investors love. And speaking of investors, we spoke about a bunch of other things that investors love to make sure that we put those in our business plan to make sure that whenever an investor invests in one of our businesses, their money is safe. We also talked about the difference between gross and net profit, the cost of goods sold, which is something that a lot of people forget. It costs to make these goods. We also talked about the break-even point and the return on investment. Something as simple for the TV show like the advertisement revenue minus the production cost equals the profit. But in order to figure out what the production cost is, you have to evaluate all these different things. And this is some of the forecasting methods that we utilized in this class. The next class was business storytelling and brand development. Having a story to your business is just as important as the marketing of the business. What would Apple be without Steve Jobs and his creative thinking and his perfectly executed keynote presentations? We talked about our buyer persona. What type of things influence them? Is it the product? Is it the price? Is it where it's at? Is it the promotion? We talked about a business mantra or a tagline. Tagline like Nike's "Just Do It." Or a mantra like Taisha Talks, "What's Goody?" Advanced entertainment law. We talked about things like what is needed in order to have a legally binding contract. The wording in the contract, number one, has to be concise, and the person that you're agreeing with must be in the right capacity, meaning they can't be drunk or under the age of 18. We talked about things in the statutes of fraud, things that must be in writing, like the purchase of land or anything to do with marriage. We went over terms like jurisdiction and alternative dispute resolutions, like going through the process of arbitration. We talked about the different levels of court, from small claims court all the way up to the Supreme Court. We went over common laws, statutes. We talked about remedies like compensatory and consequential damages. We also talked about releases and covenants not to sue. And we also went over things like intellectual property and the different types of infringement. But more importantly for me as the producer of the Taisha Talk Show, we talked about fair use, all the different types of fair use, and what are the qualifications for fair use. The next class was negotiation and deal making. We went over negotiation techniques and creative methods for coming up with mutually beneficial resolutions. We learned techniques like separating the person from the problem. We also learned about people's personalities again, and how most of the problem really lies within the 5 basic human needs. We also practiced negotiations amongst each other. We had fact sheets with different scenarios on them, where we had to come up with a resolution that would benefit both mutually. Next was digital marketing. We went over how to find analytical information and how to read it. We went over all the different pieces that go into optimizing a website for search engine bots to find them. Things like backlinking and hashtagging, and using affiliate outlets to further publish your materials. We also went over how to use Google Analytics and all the different things that it's capable of doing, like keyword searching. We also found websites like SEMrush that showed us what our competitors are doing and how they're marketing and what their numbers are looking like. Entertainment, media, publishing, and distribution. This class was really focused on books, but I was able to relate a lot of the materials to my TV and music endeavors. We talked about the pros and cons of going through a publisher or a distribution company or doing it yourself. We talked about what publishers and distribution companies are looking for before taking on a project. We also talked about how royalties work, how sales are tracked, and how the checks finally end up in my mailbox. Now the last 2 classes are business plan development. It took 2 classes because this is a culmination of everything that I've done my entire stay here at Full Sail, put into one business plan. This class really focused on the details, not missing any type of insurance, not missing any type of taxes, not missing any type of licensing you may need or any type of permits you may need. This class really focused on the small details that people usually miss when putting together a business plan. It also talked about safe investments, putting together a business that is not only safe for you and make sure that you can make money off of it, but also putting together a plan that is safe for investors. Small things like liquid assets, which help investors ensure that they will get some type of money back even if your business doesn't work. This class focused on even more marketing research techniques. Techniques that multiply your knowledge by knowing exactly what your competition is doing, knowing what your entire industry is doing, knowing what your local community is doing, your state, your government, things that are happening, trends, and you put all these things together in a business plan. Overall, my experience at Full Sail University's Entertainment Business Masters of Science program was well worth it. This program gave me the knowledge needed to be successful in the entertainment industry or on my own. As if starting a talk show wasn't difficult enough, the knowledge I gained from this program has given me the confidence to go for even more ambitious goals. Things like protecting your brand, smart goal setting, and knowing your audience are things that I've implemented into my everyday life and not just business. I'm confident when I say that anyone who has a passion, a true passion for the entertainment industry will love this program. Every day that you come to class, it's like a light bulb goes off. And it's like, I've been chasing this dream for so long and I was doing that wrong, or I was doing that wrong. And it's always something simple. That light bulb going off every day makes every day at this place worth it. My name is Marcus McCreary. You can find me online, Google Mac Did It, M-A-C-D-I-D-I-T. Thank you. Keep doing perfect work.